A large number of pastors were invited to a meeting with government officials and debriefed on the UFO phenomena, basically saying to prepare your congregations and that we're not alone.
Said this.
Every day that I have on Earth is a gift and a blessing, and I'm very grateful for that. Scientists are going missing. Now they're saying they're going to investigate this. The president himself is saying they're going to look into this and see if anything's going on. It's a little bit scary.
Today I got a compilation of non-mainstream news, conspiracy theories, and the latest information the mainstream will not show you. We're going to disassociate from the indoctrination the system tried to give us and get straight to the truth. One person will never know everything, but as a collective, we're going to figure it all out. Welcome back to the Global Mafia. Let's get to this knowledge.
hGlobal TV, subscribe.
If you knew just how sick their plan is, how sick this game is, how sick they are, it's very possible you would stop listening to every single one of them altogether. But let's cut to the chase. Media personalities, news anchors, musicians, high people in political GOV. I mean, the list goes on and on. Fighters, entertainment, everything. Even pastors, mega pastors, have sold themselves to the dark side to deceive all of humanity into accepting the false light. But what must come before the false light? The great dilemma, right? Like Ronald Reagan, that one thing would pull all of humanity together. But let me tell you, while everybody is looking for some external force that's going to take over the earth, they're among us right now. And everything has been pre-planned and shown in the movies to generate your willingness to receive whatever they do. And whether 3, 4, or 5-letter agencies, massive conglomerates like BlackRock, State Street, Vanguard, Northern Trust, that they're all working together to deceive me and you, the people. Even to the minuscule stuff like posting fake AI pictures and calling them real. So the question is,
will we get full disclosure? What will it disclose? And will it separate, bring people together, or cause anthological shock?
When we die, we get reincarnated and come back as a different being. So life goes on and on and on. We've probably all lived hundreds, maybe thousands of lives. And now this links into the second part. Some scientists and actually high-ranking researchers worldwide have said that birthmarks could be some kind of indication of a past life, potentially how you died. And apparently these birthmarks are like a warning to you. But if you have a birthmark, take note right now, make sure to share this video. If you have no birthmark, it's thought that you died in your previous life from natural causes, no trauma involved. A red birthmark means you died in a fire or some kind of tragic accident like that. A brown birthmark could indicate a wound, like a stab wound or even a gunshot wound. And if you have a very unusual birthmark, like a bright green or a bright red stretching all across different parts of your body, it's thought you died from something very...
Apparently been told to prepare for UFO and alien disclosure. Yeah, so the other day, a pastor named Perkyy Stone claimed that a large number of pastors were invited to a meeting with government officials and debriefed on the UFO phenomena, basically saying to prepare your congregations and that we're not alone in the universe. And the following day, another pastor came out, Larry Ragland, talking further about this with some interesting claims. Check this out.
A handful of pastors are invited to come to a private meeting with a group of men who are connected with the intelligence world that are believers, but are still have very high security clearance. These are legit, true men of God that are still connected to Washington and even this current administration and all branches of military. And they literally told us, we had a sitting congressman, a very well-known congressman from Missouri. He called into that meeting as well. That was just for pastors. And this is what he said. On speakerphone, this sitting powerful member of Congress said, "Are the pastors listening to me?" I'm getting chills right now because this happened to me. He said, "Are the pastors in the room listening to me?" And I said, "Yes, sir, we are here." And he said, "Listen to me. Go and tell the church they are not ready for what is coming. The narrative that is coming, what they are going to say is going to be like nothing you can even imagine. They are preparing to tell us that they are from another dimension, that they are our creator, and that these beings, these aliens, or whatever you want to call them, they were the ones that seeded us here. There is no such thing as God. Jesus was invented by them. The Bible was invented by them." And begin to just say, listen, prepare the people for what is coming because they're not ready.
Now, Larry has since come back and retracted some statements and trying to clarify things after Congressman Eric Burleson disputed some claims that he was making about this meeting. It is interesting because in the last couple of years, there has been conversation of ontological shock with disclosure, especially among religious communities.
We're still waiting on information and see if the moon landing was still real, right? But okay, check this out. Do you guys think it's the great deception, or do you think they're getting ready to tell us something they don't know how we're going to take it? With this pastor situation, where did they get these pastors from? How did they choose them? Where did this list come from? Who was in charge of it? Why was there no pictures taken of this event? Like, we got to really make sure things that's being said are really going on. Discernment at this time is going to be very important, I believe.
Is about the hantavirus outbreak on that cruise ship. We're told there's a dangerous strain spreading, but not to worry. It's being monitored. Sound familiar? Now let's look at an interesting pattern. In 2019, 5G networks started to roll out across the world. Shortly after, the first cases of appear. 2009, you have the 4G rollout right around the same time as the swine flu pandemic. You see this pattern all the way back to 1920 when radio technology rolled out across the world right around the same time as the Spanish flu pandemic. And then you have Trump, who says he was a leader of the 5G rollout and is quickly working towards 6G.
Yeah, I was a leader on 5G getting that done. And now they're up to 6.
Let's do it again.
What does that do? Give you a little bit deeper view into somebody's skin?
I'm not saying there's a pandemic every time new radio technology rolls out, but they have started testing 6G, and now there's a pandemic on the horizon, and people are starting to feel sick.
On the brand new episode of the Joe Rogan Experience today, and the timing. So, Congressman Tim Burchett mentioned that he was supposed to get on a call tomorrow with someone connected to Pete Hegseth's team. He said one of the top dogs. And he said that they're supposed to go through UAP-related items.
Can you give us any insight as to what's going on?
Oddly enough, I got a call that tomorrow at 3 o'clock, I'm going to be briefed over the phone by, I think one of Hegseth's top dogs is going to go over some stuff with me that they've got. And I have no earthly idea.
Now, the first thing to understand is that if this is happening over a call, they're probably not getting into deeply classified material. That doesn't mean that it's not important, of course, but they're probably avoiding super classified details. But here's what actually stands out about that. Tomorrow has already passed, right? The episode was recorded days ago. I don't know exactly what day, but as of today, Thursday, May 7th, there's been no clear follow-up from Burchett on any of his social media or anything like that about that call. So what could it have been about, right?
Of course, you come here to get your breaking information and news. The government, as you probably know, dropped 46 videos of things and flying unidentified crafts. Well, they couldn't identify them, and they don't tell us. And we're supposed to continue to get a slow drip and roll out after this. But it wasn't too amazing. I'm going to let you know that now. Kind of nothing burger, as y'all say. But I'm going to keep y'all updated. I would have to think these releases also have something to do with the scientists being missing, either to confirm or deny whatever is going on.
An improvement, we can have two-way communication with AI and us. We already use our cell phones and other technology like an extension of our brains, a place to store information we don't really feel like storing. But how could we use our brains to make AI better, or at least more like us?
Whole seed oils things, people don't realize they're consuming canola, soy, corn. That's been going through this chemical process, and then they go to pour it on their food and they cook it, and then they heat it up, which then even processes it again, and then they go to eat it, and then they're poisoning themselves the entire time. So, people cooking with corn, soy, canola, vegetable oil, that's a good one, right? Marketing. You don't even know what it is. You just called it vegetable because you wanted to kind of make the people feel good about they should be cooking with some vegetable oil. If you are cooking and you decide to cook organic, extra virgin coconut oil, number one, or tallow. That's pretty much it. Or raw butter. But I don't always believe in kind of cooking raw butter. I would rather do coconut oil if I'm going to do any cooking. It always feels better with the coconut oil. Coconut oil is also high in saturated fat, and I think it's part of an animal, but that's for a whole nother video.
That's a part of that indoctrination. I tell us that we've been under for the system for so long. It's a lot of things we have to disassociate from. It's going to be hard, but together we're going to get it done.
People are unhappy after a law was passed stating that all new vehicles will be required to have AI surveillance cameras in them by the year 2027. These surveillance cameras will be infrared and are specifically made to detect your body and head movement as well as your pupils to determine if you are safe to drive. If the AI camera determines that you are unsafe to drive, a which will be activated, in which you will not be allowed to drive your car until the AI decides otherwise. Many people are completely against this law, saying that they won't be buying a car that's made in the year 2027 because the cameras will be an invasion of their privacy.
Global Mafia, you know, I'm gonna just keep it 1,000, let you know anything I know. A lot of these new cars have cameras in them already. And the cameras in the visors, a whole bunch of secluded areas. Also, the CIA obviously has came out declassified that they can shut any car with a computer down.
Earthquakes in a tight cluster, roughly 28 miles east of Area 51 near Alamo, Nevada. The largest was a magnitude 4.4 quake that struck at a very shallow depth of around 4 kilometers, 2.5 miles underground. It was followed by dozens of aftershocks, mostly in the 1.5 to 3.7 range, more than 100 people reportedly feeling the shaking effects of the earthquakes itself. The quakes were usually shallow for the region. Most earthquakes there are deeper in the 6 to 12 mile range, which is what caught attention and sparked online speculation that we are seeing currently at the minute.
Said this. Every day that I have on Earth is a gift and a blessing, and I'm very grateful for that because, frankly, people are disappearing. Scientists are going missing. Now they're saying they're going to investigate this. The president himself is saying they're going to look into this and see if anything's going on. It's a little bit scary.
That was David Wilcock, a paranormal author and Ancient Aliens contributor, known for claims about UFOs, hidden technology, and government cover-ups. In the video, he referenced a series of disappearances tied to researchers and scientists in space, energy, and defense fields that he and many others believed were connected. Just 2 days later, on April 20th, 2026, in Colorado, deputies responded to a crisis call. Authorities said Wilcock was found outside with a weapon and died shortly after police arrived. His officially ruled
evidence in a skiff that leads me to believe there are things we cannot explain, and I have observed things that are of non-human origin and creation. That's my opinion. Again, but there has been a declassification order from the president, and you will see as soon as that stuff comes up.
So do you think that the American public's going to be super surprised when this comes out, or is it going to be a bit of a nothing burger?
Well, I don't think it'll be a nothing burger. But, you know, we're not going to tell the American people what to make of it. But I think, you know, when, again, you saw my last hearing that I did with the task force where there was some footage that was entered into the archive, and it's pretty shocking for people.
If you had to just make a decision now about whether there really were, I guess, aliens moving among us with their strange machines that have all sorts of powers, do you think that's plausible?
I don't call them aliens, and I don't know what these things are that they're using, right? But I think that there's stuff that we have witnessed as members of Congress, been briefed on, that we cannot explain. And I will leave it at that because that's going to be coming out soon, and I think that the American people will have many of their questions.
I guess Trump did choose her for a reason. She has been choosing her words very, very methodically and carefully for about a year now. We're going to see, and we're going to see if things actually change down to the average everyday civilian individual in their daily lifestyle. Global Mafia, you think it'll change?
Aliens, but I don't need aliens to explain these things. I think the alien thing is a bit of a distraction. But of course there's aliens, of course the universe is full of life, but the ancient archaeological sites are not good evidence for that idea. I think we are dealing with a lost human civilization, and at Baalbek, 20 feet above the ground, we have 3 blocks of stone, joined so closely together that you can't get an edge of a sheet of paper between them. Each one weighs more than 900 tons, and they are 20 feet above the ground. It's a stunning achievement. How on earth did they do that?
And how does mainstream archaeology deal with that?
They say, the Romans built it all.
The Romans did do some awesome stuff.
They did do some awesome stuff. They absolutely did. But this site is separate from the Roman site.
Well, Global Mafia, that's that. I'm glad you made it all the way through. If you did, put soldier in the comments. I'll put my narrative on a few things. This alien disclosure, extra, ultra, interterrestrial thing is getting extremely hectic. The scientists going missing, a lot of layers, a lot of information being pushed somewhere, a lot of truth being mixed with falsehoods. Will we ever know the reality? Let me know what y'all think is going on. Is it Project Blue, or is it something really going down? I think it's a mix of the both, but I'm gonna keep giving you at least one compilation a day. Iamqueheff, capital K, $ for the S. Don't miss Intellectual Street Thoughts at 9 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. One person will never know everything, but as a collective, we're gonna figure it all out. Let's keep getting to this knowledge.